nice. So next biggest problem that, next biggest problem that we are going to, discuss, which the companies face and which you are sure to ask questions on, is about missingness. All right. So Sharat, your experiences on missingness with your life, your practical or the project that you worked on, and how did you address them? Go ahead. Looking at Sharat's smile itself, all the memories are coming. Please go ahead.
That's right. Missing values are really a troublesome activity, treating them as a troublesome activity because we do not have the actual data. That's why it's called as missing data. And without the values, obviously, we cannot apply any kind of machine learning algorithm directly on that particular observation. The biggest challenge is, even if I have one single cell or one single column value missing for a row, then the entire row values are gone, and I'll not be able to use a mathematical function. That's how computers work, and that's how we have to basically deal with the mathematical equations. Now, this is going to impact the entire analysis because a lot of data gets lost. Now, that is especially was very crucial in my project because I was working on with limited data points. I did not have too much of data to basically churn that numbers and try and bring up some pattern. So when we talk about these things, right? So yeah, scary situations, but yeah, that also gave me a lot of exposure on dealing with different approaches and trying out and seeing which method works and all that. So my approach, of course, was again going with the very basic things. I always try to keep things very simple, and to deal with the missing cells on the numeric values, numeric columns, I used mean imputation. Because again, I did not want to influence the information that is there in the column. If I wanted to impute a missing value, I could have put any value. For example, if the fuel efficiency column, which is basically the total number of kilometers per fuel, 1 liter fuel is being captured there, then I could have put a random number as 15 kilometers per liter if a specific cell is missing for one of the observations. But how sure are we if I randomly put a number? And it also impacts the entire information that I had in that particular column. So to ensure that I do not disturb the meaning of the column of the data that I received from the business, I simply calculated mean of the remaining available data and substituted that mean into that missing space. Now, the magic is that when we recalculate the average or mean of the columns, even after imputation, it doesn't change. That means I have not impacted my, basically the data. I have not influenced or changed the meaning of that data. This is specifically done for numeric columns, and for non-numeric columns, we used the constant imputation technique because with respect to the standards, majority of the data that we had was with respect to the cars or the vehicles, which are in the same range. Basically, their characteristics are very kind of a similar characteristics. So we wanted to go with a constant value for each column. For example, engine type. We wanted to stick to petrol vehicles. So whenever we had that column missing, we said, okay, let's assume that this is a petrol vehicle and then proceed further with analysis. So this is how we handled missing data, Mr. Nathan.
Thank you, Sharat. So yeah, pretty exciting dealing with missing values, and it's once you finally finish it off, it's like, wow, that was amazing. We could do it. I mean, before that, it is like a surgery that you are doing. I mean, it may seem very trivial for students out of in the training institute. Missingness, what is that? Just tuck, this thing. But in production environment and real life kind of scenarios, it is a madhouse. Trust me on that. Bharani, I would like to like you to add your pearls with reference to missingness.
Yep, absolutely. So when it comes to missingness, if a value is missing in your data set, then one way to deal with that is do nothing. Just leave it as is. And then an entire row would get deleted. Even say you have 6 columns, and if one value is missing in one of the rows, the complete row will be deleted. That means you lose the remaining entries also. To address that, you need to first understand 3 things. The variance of missingness. Are the data missing at random, or are the data missing not at random, or are the data missing completely at random? So these are the 3 things that we need to remember. And we need to categorize each and every missing value with respect to whether they are missing at random, missing completely at random, or missing not at random. While it is difficult to go to each and every missing entry and then figure out whether a value is missing for at random or not at random or completely at random, we can look at the column and then figure out whether the values missing within that column are completely at random or not at random. Hey, what is the difference between these 3? Right? Missing completely at random means a value is missing and you have no clue about that. For example, in the column called income, there might be a few values and people might miss that accidentally while providing their details. When they are filling their loan application, accidentally, because of some oversight, they missed out income randomly. That's completely at random. But then, if they are purposefully not providing their income because their salary is extremely high, then it's called as missing not at random. That means people purposefully are not providing the details over there. So on one side, you have missing completely at random, where you cannot even determine why that value is missing. And on another side, you exactly know why the value is missing, which is missing not at random. And in between these two, you have something called as missing at random, where there could be multiple reasons. Because the loan application was very lengthy and probably the income section was coming in towards the end and people were so tired that they didn't fill that. Could be one reason, right? Another reason is probably your question was, what is your per month salary that you're gaining before tax and after deducting your PF and PT, professional, tax. If questions of that kind are asked, maybe it puts a lot of mental strain on your brain. People cannot calculate that, or people chose not to calculate that and give you the income details. In those cases, it is missing at random. So there could be multiple reasons. You really don't know which reason to be applied, but certainly there is some reason to that. That's missing at random. Missing not at random, you perfectly know why they are not giving the detail. Missing completely at random, you really don't know anything on why that value is missing. Missing at random can have multiple reasons stacked to it. Only once you determine these things, only once you classify or categorize your missing values into these 3 sections, can you proceed further. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bharani. Thank you, Sharat, for that amazing answer for the topic of missingness. And audience, trust me, the two what we only discussed about 2 things today. One was about outliers, and the other is about the missingness. And it is, if you are lucky, they do not ask you too many questions in interview, great. But please be thoroughly prepared about this, because this is going to haunt you. I'm literally using the word. It's going to haunt you for the rest of your life as a data scientist. All right. So if you get an opportunity to get answered in the interview, show them how much you know about it. If not, still be very well prepared on these 2 things and try to acquire as much knowledge as possible. So on that note, I'd like to wrap it up and give Bharani a couple of a couple of seconds maybe to wrap it up. Bharani, anything you would like to add today?
I think I've spoken enough for today, Nitin. I would rather request Sharat to conclude.
Thank you. Okay, so like I just wanted to put a conclusion note here for the session. And one thing I would definitely like to add is definitely these concepts are going to haunt us as a data scientist, because ultimately we are going to deal with data, and data comes in different forms from different sources. So one thing as a data scientist that you will have to be thorough is data pre-processing steps. And we don't have a standard process for this. So you'll have to be thorough for dealing with all these concepts, thoroughly upskill yourself into these concepts. With that, I would like to conclude.
Thank you, Sharat. Thank you, Bharani.